All right, so let's get this started. This is Stripping Down D&D with Typo and Tom. Our guests are Caleb and Keith. And how you guys doing tonight? All right,
Oh,
so
not too
let's
Awesome.
bad.
get this
Doing good.
started. This is Stripping Down D&D. Seeing it did it again. It likes to unmute itself. But anyways, so thanks guys for joining us. Tonight we're going to be talking about backgrounds and equipment. And when I say backgrounds, I'm talking about 13 different backgrounds that we can choose from when we're setting up our characters. That gives you the personal traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws.
Right. So, acolyte, sage, criminal, that sort of thing.
Correct.
All the stuff that gets me very confused when creating a character.
Yeah,
Well, maybe after you'll understand it a little bit more.
That'd be great.
at least that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
So first, I'll just start by saying when you're picking this background, if you've seen our previous Twitches, or however you want to say it, we went with originally your character concept. So try and work these backgrounds with your character concept. So if you think, your character, is an ex-criminal or something, obviously the criminal probably would fit best. But you don't always have to go that way. One of the things I notice a lot is rogue, criminal. Wizard or sorcerer, people go with sage. So let me ask you, if any of your characters, the three of you have going right now, what backgrounds did you go with? Do you remember?
Oh, you hit right on it. Rogue, criminal.
All right.
And it's I actually did think I went between the others. What is it? Trickster and Arc? No, wait. The other one?
So there's for the rogue, there's the
Criminal, trickster,
the
or
the thief,
Yeah. There's
the
thief,
assassin.
assassin, and the arcane trickster.
assassin. That's it. I was trying to think of. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I didn't really want to go with assassin. I don't remember why. And the other one, I think it had some levels of magic in it, didn't it?
So,
Yeah, and that's why I stayed away from
so
those.
those are actually part of the rogue. So when we're talking about the background, like he said, alkalite, criminal, entertainer, folk hero, guild
Right.
artisan, those type things. So I think you might have went with the background with criminal with your rogue.
I did. I
If
chose
I
criminal.
okay, um, how about you, Keith? Do you remember any that you went with?
Um. Well, yeah, I went with criminal, but uh, to touch on that, I would say some others that would easily fit would be uh, the sailor with the pirate variant. That could easily be a roguish type character.
Correct.
Guild artisan, you could even be the leader of a thieves guild, something like that.
There you go. Caleb, do you have any characters that you have right now that you're playing?
Yeah, I have well, uh, going straight from the handbook, it'd be a half orc soldier, but I kind of morphed it into a half orc mercenary. We just kind of changed up some things from the soldier.
Oh, okay.
So I guess that would be kind of what a half orc would do. So kind of canon for a half orc, other than just being a barbarian.
Oh, okay, so you're a barbarian, and
No,
then you.
I have a half orc. Uh, the background is a what would be a soldier. It's just kind of changed up to mercenary.
Okay, but what class is it? Is it a
Fighter.
barbarian? Oh, it's a fighter. Okay.
Fighter.
Um. So what I did with a couple characters, some of them fit. Like I have a rogue that I took the background of the criminal, but also a sorcerer that I took the background of criminal. Something a little different. Some people may not think of it, especially if you're new. Reason I did that is he's a sorcerer, but he was an enforcer, which is part of the criminal background. So he enforces when people, take out loans on the black market or whatever. So it's something a little different. Like I say, don't be afraid to go with something different if it fits your personality that you chose for your character. There are 13 different ones you can choose from, and sometimes multiples will fit. Sometimes just one will fit your personality. One of them that I know I've had a discussion before about was the noble background. But think of how you can use these backgrounds to build a better story for your character. And then go through the personality traits, the bonds, and the flaws. And those are kind of to guide you in how you play your character. I don't know if you guys have any questions on the backgrounds. I don't know how much.
When we were making my character, Tom, you said like you were telling me there like okay, there's like urchin and this and that. Are those part of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had said when we were going through them, you said, well, these are the ones that you probably would only be, and then the other ones you said just really wouldn't typically fit. Is it just because of the way that I'd said I wanted to make my character, or just because it didn't really fit at all with the?
No, because you had explained, and I'm not going to give anything away, but the way you explained how you seen your character develop, what you kind of gave with the background and how you wanted their attitude to be, I kind of felt there was a few that fit that scenario that other ones wouldn't have really fit with it.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I just wasn't sure, which was fine because I actually did find the perfect one for her.
Right.
But I wasn't sure if it was just because it was something that you shouldn't go in that realm of, and you were saying maybe we should actually try some to go, out of there, or if it was just because of that one character.
Yeah, so when you explained it all to me, and I remember I had said like there was like 3 or 4 of them that would fit in there depending on how you wanted to play out that character.
Right.
Always, I suggest look at all of them and see which ones will fit your story, and then go with the one that fits best. Sometimes, depending on your story, and I'll use the rogue because that's the easiest one, rogue criminal. Most people do it. And a lot of times, depending on how you want to play your rogue, that probably will fit the best. Sage would probably fit best for, magic users. And, of course, when you pick a class, a lot of times it suggests that you take this background. But again, think about your story, think about how you want to play the character, and is that the best fit?
Okay. I'm not sure if you have plans to or not, but I think it'd probably be a good idea to list what the actual backgrounds are and just a general idea of what they, just a general gist of what they are.
Sure.
We're talking about them.
Sure. The acolyte, which is it's basically you're in a service of a temple, so probably a good fit for clerics, maybe even monks. You have the charlatan. I think I'm saying that the right way.
Charlatan.
You have a way with people. You know what makes them tick. That one really, could be any, I think, class, in my opinion.
When I hear the word charlatan, I think of like the people that sold snake oil.
Right? Yeah, the might fit for that type thing. They know how people tick. They know what makes them, do what they do, and they usually use that to their advantage, whether it be good or bad. Criminal, I think criminal pretty much self-explanatory. The entertainer, usually that would be a bard. But for those that are barbarians, think about it, because they do have, you could be a gladiator, and so you
Oh,
fight for entertainment purposes.
funny enough, I would have never thought of that. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and I have a barbarian that I took the entertainer because he likes to fight. Let's see, we've got folk hero. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Guild artisan, which is you're part of a guild, which could be many different guilds. Usually people think Thieves Guild right off the top. But it could be like a potter, a mason, cobbler, different smiths, weaponsmith, armorsmith guild, which, may or may not fit for any character, The hermit, who lives in seclusion, whether it be a sheltered community, monastery, or just out by themselves. A lot of times that may be a druid, I guess would be the best fit, maybe. But again, it could be any class of character. The noble, which means you come from, wealth, power, privilege. Now, personally, as a DM, if you're going to take noble, that's fine. I don't have an issue. But don't think that means you've got an endless amount of money. Because for some reason you are no longer entitled to that money. Which I've heard from a lot of DMs, because, people will take noble and then they think they've starting off with 5,000 gold. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But I have a character that's a noble, and he's lost touch with his family, and so he carries that deed that says he's noble, yet he has no connection to that family to get the benefits, really.
Okay. So like cut off from his trust fund.
Exactly. You've got the Outlander, who grew up in the wilds far from civilization. Rangers, druids, really anybody could be that. And then you have Sage, which, is about magic, and sorcerer, wizard, warlock.
Can you play a rogue as a sage?
You could, if you're gonna do like a trickster rogue.
Oh, okay.
That might work.
Okay.
But really, any of them. I mean, you can use a background, in my opinion, for any class, any background. It's the story you're going with.
Okay. It just
See what I'm
sounded so weird to put the two together, but as soon as you said it, it made sense.
Yeah. You got the sailor, which obviously that's pretty self-explanatory, and really anybody could be a sailor. Your race might not fit, but class-wise, I think anybody. Druid probably wouldn't fit too well, but I think anybody else probably could. Soldier, again, fighter, barbarian, probably would fit the best, but really, you could be a soldier and be any class, I think. Maybe you're a wizard, but you're the one that shoots all the long range stuff.
I was thinking of like a halfling soldier.
Right? Why not? Halfling villages need armies, don't they?
I guess so. That's what I'm saying. Like these are things I would think of.
Yeah, I think so.
Speaking on that, no.
Mhm.
When you're doing your backgrounds, it's perfectly fine to mix and match them according to your race, right? Because technically, you're still rolling for normal stats like Dex, Constitution, and what have you. So it really shouldn't matter which background you choose, correct?
Right. No. As far as your race, I don't think it would really play into it. To your background, could be any of these. Like I say, um, some people say gnomes would never be on a ship, so maybe a sailor might not fit that. But depending on the world that you're playing in, maybe they are on ships. You know, as I always say about every conversation I have, check with your DM and make sure it works in the world that he's going to be playing, or she, because maybe they have limitations on their world, and if that's the case, you don't want to spend a bunch of time building a character to find out, you know, that it doesn't work in his world.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
So, but but I don't think, I think the backgrounds, you can go any race, certainly. Classes, there may be some that don't fit too well, but depending on your story, it may fit.
So would it?
Go ahead.
What's the classes? Would it? Depending on the class, would it affect how your character progresses, or?
No, so what I mean is depending on the class that you are. So the best example I can think of is a druid is all about nature, okay? So a sailor, I don't think really fits, you know, in my opinion anyways. Maybe somebody's got a different opinion or
I would
better
actually have
example.
to disagree on that because
Yeah.
druids are not necessarily limited to land animals. They can be aquatic just as easily.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So all right, I stand corrected. Maybe there is a, so
No, Tom doesn't know everything.
Hmm.
The world is
No,
shattered.
I totally get where he's from thinking about it though, because it's just water and an object. It's kind of not really druidy, but
right.
No,
But
I'm
maybe
just kidding,
he's,
it's just
maybe that
hilarious.
druid is
You know,
all
there's-
about the sea.
there's totally
So
an idea of a druid shifting into a giant elephant seal and sunning himself on the prow of a boat. You never know.
right. So let me see if I can think of another one. Maybe I'll have to get back to one that really
One
does.
more thing.
Go ahead.
With your aquatic druid, would there really be any usefulness to it, especially if you're playing on a, let's say it's a 50-50 aquatic map? Would it really be any useful if you're like, you spend equal times on land and water, since it's kind of useless on the land?
I would say, well, being a druid, you're not limited to being an aquatic druid. You have an ability called Wild Shape. It starts off, you can only shift into land animals. Nothing that flies and nothing that can swim. And then as you gain levels, you shift into animals that can fly, and then later on animals that can swim. So you're not actually just limited to aquatic animals.